Square Enix Q1 2025 financial report shows a really sharp decline in particularly the MMO division with 14 after the launch of Dawntrail. MMO gross sales decreased by 2.9 billion. Okay, so minus 23%, minus 45%. Okay. Square Enix shareholder Yuzu writes that something must be done for 14 to regain its popularity and user base, as it is an important pillar to the company's HD games sales. He writes that the current increase in stock prices due to the activist funding is inflated and not an accurate reflection of the company's health. Okay, so basically it lost over $200 million. So here's my retweet, and we'll look at some of the comments. That's it, boys. Wrap it up. Dawntrail's officially dead. Good. Now maybe they'll increase tomes, make jobs harder, and release more content faster. The next expansion better have Reloaded, Resurrection, or Revengeance in the title. Dude, I thought this was so funny. Because if you guys notice, okay, have you guys ever seen like a show or a series or anything fail and they always add like Reloaded or Resurrection or some shit like that in it? So like this guy, there was this, okay, look at this dude, a Realm Reloaded. Dude, that's so badass, bro. Oh, make it happen, dude. A Realm Reloaded, dude. Holy shit. Reloaded. Dude, that's so badass, man. You went from Dawntrail as the best battle expansion to good that Dawntrail is dead. Okay, well, all right. So here's the thing, man. I still think that Dawntrail, so far, it's equal to Stormblood, and Stormblood was my favorite expansion. Like, I'm not memeing, man. I really enjoy Dawntrail. Let me tell you why. Is because I went into this with the correct expectation. People just approach Square Enix from an entirely different perspective. And you can't do that. You have to have a realistic expectation when you're, dealing with Square Enix. And look, I'm just going to be honest here. It's incompetence. You just have to expect them to be incompetent. That's how it is. Like, guys, they haven't changed their fucking formula in 10 years. Like, in 10 years. And these people think that just because they're whining and crying that they're going to change stuff mid-expansion. No, they're not. They're not. Like, I knew the combat was going to be like this. People are complaining about how the jobs are too samey, how the jobs suck, that type of stuff. That I will agree with to a certain extent. But I also agreed to that the last expansion. I have literally said this since Shadowbringers. My favorite expansion was Stormblood. And ever since then, things have been getting easier over time. And finally, we're at a point to where now it's too easy that people are bitching. What I think, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, is I think that Dawntrail's, Final Fantasy's success is actually showing because a lot of people came to play the game, right? A lot of people. And now that a lot of people are at in-game, they're seeing all of the problems. There's more voices speaking these problems. There's more voices than just me and Arthur's, and I'm sure other people, right? There's way more people that are saying, hey, this game, that has some issues. We need to fix these issues, I mean, that's me being nice. Some people are saying that it's, it sucks and all this shit. But my point being here is that there weren't as many people that fully realized the problems that this game has 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. Like, does that make sense to you guys? Over the course of time, Square Enix has stuck with the same fucking formula. And the same formula, maybe it worked in A Realm Reborn, maybe in Heavensward, but after that, it needed to change. We needed to get more stuff. The problem is we are not getting near as much content as we should. Up? Okay? We need to be getting more content. But until now, people, they didn't realize it. Or there weren't enough people bitching about it. This happening right here is really good. This is really good. And the reason why this is good is because this is going to pressure them to do something, right? Because at the end of the day, money runs pretty much everything. So because money is involved, now they're forced. Okay, this is actually something that I was wanting to happen for years. Because if you go back and look at some of the stuff that I've said, I've always said that Final Fantasy has never needed to change. Now, let me be clear here. Have I wanted Final Fantasy to change? Absolutely. But from a game standpoint, it didn't need to change because they were continuously making money, right? If a game is making good money, They're a business. They don't care about us. They don't care about the customers. Okay. I mean, that's just how it is, man. They fucking don't. So they're going to keep producing the same shit over and over and over again, right? At the same schedule, because they don't need to change, because what they're doing is working. Does that make sense? So this happening, this is a good thing, because now Square Enix is probably forced into a position to change. This means that they're going to have to change up their formula. So for those of you that don't know, this game's content cycle has been virtually the same for a fucking decade. Okay? It is severely outdated. There isn't as we need more content. They haven't changed at all. And the reason why is because they got way too comfortable. They don't take enough risks, and they're too worried about pissing off, the fucking player base. It just comes down to, why should we change when we're making money? Like, basically, they've kept the same formula over the years, but all they've done over the years is continue to increase money. So they're doing the same shit, but they're just making more and more and more and more and more and more money. So from a company perspective, why the fuck would we try any harder than right here when we continuously make money? But now they're going to have to, or I hope that they have to. People tend to forget like the devotion and like the motivation and everything from 1.0 to 2.0. What I mean is for those of you that didn't play in 1.0, 1.0 was so fucking bad. It was so fucking bad that they literally had to kill the game. Okay? So when people say that Final Fantasy XIV is dying, it always just kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, because because these people haven't seen a dying game. Okay? They really haven't. They haven't seen a dying game. 1.0 was a dying game, and they brought it back. Like, they fucking brought it back from the grave. You know what I mean? You got to give credit where credit's due. I feel like that this right here, maybe this is going to be a wake-up call. They're going to say, oh shit, okay, now we're forced into doing something different. Maybe we can look at other games. Maybe we'll look at Guild Wars. Maybe we'll look at WoW. Maybe we'll look at other games and steal some of their ideas. Because no MMO, no game is going to be absolutely perfect. And in my opinion, one of the best things that you can do for a game, I keep in mind, this is from a non-dev creator standpoint, I mean, I did work at Square Enix for 7 years, I never once said I was a developer. I was on the Q&A team, okay? I'm a hacker, okay? From my perspective, I think that the best thing to do is to steal really good things about other games. Okay, so like, look at what WoW did with housing. Guild Wars 2 had 2 poorly received expansions back to back. Yeah, so, okay, when I mentioned Guild Wars 2, right, like, I can't really speak too much about the newer expansions, but there are some, so when I say steal from Guild Wars 2, I'll give you some examples. I mean the glamour system. I mean like all of your characters and items and everything being attached to one single account. There's a lot of really, really cool systems in Guild Wars 2. Guys, this happening right now is very good for the game. And I know that sounds bad because, okay, well, they lost a bunch of money. But I feel like the one thing that people forget, this is the one thing that people forget. And this is another reason why people don't like to admit their mistakes, because they're embarrassed or something. But making a mistake, I mean, obviously depending on the mistake, but making a mistake can be a very positive thing. It can be a very good thing, because when you make a mistake, that is an opportunity to learn. You cannot learn unless you fail, okay? Or it's much harder to learn if you don't fail, because basically when you fail, you're forced into a position to where you either, one, have to deny. I mean, that always works out, right? Because I mean, certain people, they're still developing games at a top tier level. They're still producing code that is, immaculate. They're a hacker, all that shit. So when you fail, you can just deny, but we all know how that turns out, okay? When you fail, if you take responsibility, if you accept it, and instead of being embarrassed or not learning from it or thinking that you're too good, this is a huge opportunity for you to change and be even better. The player drop off, people shitting on Dawntrail, this is good for Square Enix to make a change, because I hope it forces them into a position to release patches faster with more content in them. Okay, there's zero excitement on 14. Everything died. Everything is woke. Okay, I don't know what that means. Everything is gay. Everything lame. There's no badass content in fights. Everything is gay? What? What in Final Fantasy is home? What? Okay, anyway, ramp up the story ASAP and go back to the core of 14. They need to walk away from all this stupid, lame storytelling bullshit. The maps are obsolete. You run through it once in the story mode, never come back again, zero grinds. I mean, you could have seen this pattern coming from years ago, and I've been saying it, but everybody backfired to me, and I'm so glad now streamers are talking about it. Okay, I have no fucking idea what this means. Dawntrail. Reloaded. Let's see if there's any more funny ones. Then I want to go to Todd's tweet because Todd's tweet has some crazy shit on there, man. Oh, yeah, dude. This fucking comment is awesome. I remember reading this. The game is going to die, so you will have no choice. Start play WoW right now. At this rate, you will be starving soon. It is time to start playing the only good MMORPG in the market. World of Warcraft will be your only choice. Ha 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 ha. Woke trash. Why are people calling Final Fantasy woke? Because VA is trans? Okay, so because one voice actress is trans, the entire game is woke? So the one voice actress completely overrides the entire game. The entire game. Really? I feel like that anybody that takes anything on Twitter seriously is a fucking brain damaged idiot. Okay, so let's look at Llama Todd. So we did it, boys. We killed 14. My viewers and I somehow responsible for the sharp decline in MMO profits due to wrong think. Totally irrational response from GCBTW. I don't know what this is. And look what else they're encouraging you to do. Oh, yeah, this guy, dude. This guy's crazy. This is what we get with allowing right-wing Asmongold Llama Todd viewers sacks of shit to feel cozy and at home in your game online community. Good God. This right here is how you can tell that you've been on Twitter way too long. Okay, if you ever type like this individual, you've been on Twitter way too long and you should probably like not be on the internet for a couple years. Wrong. 10,000 years of Wook Lamat cry. Good thing you're a gun owner already. It'll be a quick fix for you to log out permanently before next expansion launches. This is what happens when anti-woke troglodytes aren't excised from a community earlier. You disgusting mongrels have been given an undue sense of a shared voice because Asmongold happened to be a popular MMO opinion haver. I'd rather have 14 die than let you animals have it. I have a say. This guy is like so obsessed with Asmon. What is your problem? This is some crazy shit. The Copen not understanding that it was them who's been hurting the game and community this whole time. My, how the turns have tabled. I think it's funny. So like Ginger Prime used to be a content creator or something. He used to play the game a long time ago. I always think it's funny when a person that fails at streaming a game or creating content or something like that, they then leave that space and then they come back. They'll like crawl out of like beneath the refrigerator like a roach or some shit. And they'll be like, haha, I told you so. You know what I mean? Like, why would you care? I guess in my mind, they were still secretly following the entire time. They were still secretly wanting to be a part of the community. They pretended to leave, but they constantly kept up with it. And to me, once I'm done with a game, I'm done with it. Maybe they feel validated or something like that. So like basically because of an issue that forced them to leave the game, they now like come back on a completely separate issue to try to like, I guess say I was right. But the thing that they initially said has nothing to do with the current situation. Anyway, Square Enix is getting shit on by its player base, getting shit on by the fucking company's shit. Now, hopefully they will be in a position where they will be forced to change. Hopefully they will be pressured enough to change. And hopefully those changes include job changes, make the jobs harder. Hopefully we get an increase in content and faster content releases. So that means that like each patch is going to have more content in it and each patch will be released faster. Hopefully the quality of certain shit will be better. Hopefully we can get updated systems. I think that at the end of the day, it really just comes down to JP culture. So I said this earlier, and there were a couple people that were like disagreeing with me. So basically in the latest interview with Yoshi, he said that their problem is that they don't have enough people to apply. But the reason that they don't have enough people is because you have to speak Japanese. Now, in my opinion, I think that is stupid. I think that they should be the one to learn other languages, not force those people to learn JP. And my reason for this, okay, is because They are the ones in trouble, not the other way around. Again, let's say that they were an insanely prestigious company that people were just dying to work for, okay? Then yeah, sure. You know, you should have to learn them because you are catering to them. But that's not the case here. That's not the case. They don't have people because of them. They are the ones in trouble. So what they should do everything that they can to get people in there, which includes learning other languages. The fact that there is a language barrier at all is just ridiculous to me. That's just ridiculous. So you can't hire someone because of a language barrier, like you're refusing to work with these people. You're refusing to learn their language. Can't you meet halfway? Like, don't you have translators? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. But then again, I'm ignorant to how they function as a company. But it just doesn't make sense to me that if you are in need of something, you are the one that needs help. Yet you expect people to cater to you. This kind of mentality reminds me of people that refuse to help themselves. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Japanese people in Japan that want a job at Square Enix. Like, even the language barrier is an issue. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of candidates. I just think they don't want to pay more employees. So according to them, that's not the case. So anyway, I'm very much looking forward to how Square Enix handles this. I'm very much looking forward to what they're going to do. And I think that if they handle themselves correctly, this will be a really good turnaround. Here is another thing too. They need to expand on where they take feedback, because just taking feedback from like JP player base and shit like that is a huge fucking mistake. It's a huge fucking mistake. Okay. Because their culture is very different from like EU or like, you know, NA, stuff like that, other parts of the world. And I feel like that having multiple perspectives is very, very important. But anyway, this is good. I'm curious to see what the fuck happens.